Harry Carson was the quintessential football player. He was the prototypical middle linebacker, Super Bowl champion, played the game with ferocity, played the game with passion. Carson did so much in his career, but when you think of Harry Carson, you think about him as the captain. 10 of his 13 years for the Giants, he was the leader.
You know, many of those guys followed me, and as I tried to lead them to be the best that they could be. This year will be my 25th year out of football, but yet the players who I played with, they still consider me their captain for life. My teammates gave me that moniker. They sort of look at me as their advocate and someone who speaks on their behalf. I think I began to recognize midway through my pro career that something was going on, but I couldn't really put my finger on exactly what it was. You know, you're doing interviews and couldn't really come up with the words that you wanted to use. If you're going to play football, you're taught that you have to be tough. You have to be able to continue to play in spite of getting hit and not necessarily feeling too good after getting that hit. So it's not necessarily about getting knocked out. It's about, getting your bell rung. Those little small dings, you don't really count those things up. But those things have a way of damaging the brain in a very subtle manner.
He had 15 concussions or so in his career, and he knew that his speech wasn't perfect and sometimes vocabulary wasn't perfect.
I kept it to myself because one of the things you learn as an athlete is you don't share your weaknesses with other people. It wasn't until I got involved in broadcasting after football, I started losing my train of thought live on the air. I had bouts of depression that I couldn't really figure out why. And the diagnosis came back as a mild post-concussion syndrome. I recognized that if I was going through this stuff as a player, there's probably a whole bunch of other players going through the same thing. And so I've really become an advocate on behalf of those players because they knew something was going on, but they couldn't really articulate what they were feeling.
Harry Carson was promoting concussion recognition long before it was popular.
He started before it was fashionable to talk about concussions and to talk about protecting the players of old. He was one of the leaders in that regard. When Harry made it to the Hall of Fame, he said, "I really don't need this honor to validate me."
I decided that I'm going to use that as a platform to get things off of my chest.
I would hope that the leaders of the NFL, the future commissioner, and the Player Association do a much better job of looking out for these individuals. You got to look out for them.
I would like to see more attention given to what can be done for those guys who have already sustained the damage, to ensure that these guys can live a better quality of life.
He's clearly functioning as the team captain, trying to take care of his teammates. What's really been impressive is his ability to take that same focus on team and really move it towards the community. Not only for traumatic brain injury, but also for stroke and other neurological diseases that we care deeply about.
Harry accepts the responsibility of doing the right thing and the noble thing. And now it's not about being on the gridiron, it's about giving back to these players that need our help.
I try to advocate on behalf of those who really don't have a voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's all say thank you to Harry.